Oxitec, ever heard of them? Well, this is what they say about themselves. Oxitec is the leading developer of biological solutions to control pests that transmit disease, destroy crops, and harm livestock. Now, in this, they have this whole thing with they're developing mosquitoes that'll breed out here. Watch.
What we've shown in Brazil is that within a 6-month period, we can reduce the population of mosquitoes, this particular one that spreads dengue, chikungunya and Zika, by over 90% within 6 months. And that's a very consistent result to get across all the trials we've done. Well, the longer term solution is to keep the mosquito population under control. So to get it down from a very high level and then to keep it low. Well, this could be used in really very large scale implementations. You could see this approach being used in very large cities to control mosquito populations. The trouble is now what people use is chemicals, which are very ineffective, hence the problems we have today. And these chemicals are used on a very frequent basis among cities all over the world. Well, the first thing I'd say is that with our mosquito, it doesn't actually stay in the environment. So every single male we put out there only does one of two things. It either finds a female, mates, in which case the offspring die and it dies, or it doesn't find a female, in which case it dies anyway. So actually our approach doesn't stay in the environment. I think the issue really is that over the years, we have been faced with a succession of very important and very unpleasant mosquito-borne viruses. Dengue fever, then chikungunya, now Zika virus. And the toll on human health is really quite intolerable, and we need new tools to work with. And I think this is a very effective one. In every single country where we've been working, in Cayman, Panama, Brazil, and also in India, you have to go through a really rigorous, long examination by independent scientists and regulatory bodies before you can import, before you can do trials, before you can release these mosquitoes outdoors. So you have to go through that very rigorous scrutiny, which we have been through. And in fact, in Brazil, we've now got national approval in terms of biosafety, in terms of impact on the environment. I mean, this approach actually, although it's new, is actually a lot safer than what mankind is using at the moment.
Now, first and foremost, what we wanted to touch base on is the fact that they started it in brown countries, very similar to the great deal of the businesses that left the states, because they talk about they have these stringent processes and procedures in order to review, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, the reason these companies left America is because the pollution factor, like coal, nuclear waste, and waste in general, they can pollute the oceans overseas more over than they can do here. That's why all this whole green initiative, blah, blah, blah is going on. Whereas these male mosquitoes have been engineered to mate with female mosquitoes, and there's some conflicting data floating around, whereas these non-biting male mosquitoes will kill off the offspring. It's where one story they had on Scripps or whatever was talking about it would only kill off the female offspring, and then people have concerns about, is it going to really work in the long-term solution? What happens if it doesn't actually kill or whatever. It's just that we started thinking on these other items because once upon a time there was a geneticist that had developed a way to attack the human genome, like on a genetic marker basis, like to kill off black people. And he came up dead or what have you. It was suicide, we believe. It was one of those quote unquote suicides. Right. But then when we start thinking about cloning, because what was it? Bette Midler, she has cloned dogs. Correction, it's not Bette Midler, it's Barbara Streisand. She has cloned dogs. Right now, like 2 of her dogs are clones. It's well known, it's been publicized, and it's not something that's a conspiracy theory. This has been stated out in the open. And so if they can do that to dogs and then they can genetically modify the mosquitoes, what's to stop them to doing it to us? And then again, when we start talking about the alphabet community and the atrazine that they're putting in the food, the water, the Similac, the baby formula, they're putting this atrazine and it's gender reassigning. So when people start talking about how folks aren't born homosexual or what have you, but they're polluting the stuff that the women that are pregnant are ingesting, and then it's filtering into the baby. Like it has a whole bunch of questions. So we're not trying to be the crazy conspiracy dude or whatever. It's just that not too long ago there was a trust the science thing about this thing that everybody was supposed to stop. They were supposed to get the inoculation to stop this other thing that just popped up on the scene, and then they had the inoculation just like right on deck, and then people were hesitant about not trusting the science and then using other science that was a peer review, like of the data, to go on record and share that actual scientists, people with PhDs and whatnot, talking about don't trust the jet, but then it was trust the people that were pushing the jet. It just really bothers us. And so yeah, the thing is that they're bringing it home to the States. They're rolling it out in the Florida Keys and a couple of places where you get this little box, you can set it up, and then it helps breed the mosquitoes or whatever, so they can go out into the wilderness and whatnot. And we're totally fine because we don't think we really need mosquitoes per se. It's just that, again, the viruses that they found in mosquitoes that have been relatively recent. It's kind of like a great deal of the modern ailments as it pertains to what's causing cancer, what's killing people, you understand? Like all this stuff is new. and it's not our people that did it. The same way with pollution, green initiative, it's not our people that are, you understand, the industrial revolution, the incombustible engine, even though, you know, it gets hinky with the engine, however, coal and all that being burned, that's not on us. The people who were destroying the planet want credit for saving the planet. It's like setting a fire and then wanting credit for
REX